Now is it okay? So we'll start. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Itipiso bhagavarahan samma sambuddho vidyacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisadamma sarati satta deva manusanang buddho bhagavati namo tassa samma sambuddhassa swakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akaliko ehipassiko apanayiko pachattang veditavvo vinnohiti namo tassa niyanika sadammasa supatipanno bhagavato savaka sango ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sango nyayapatipanno bhagavato savaka sango samichipatipanno bhagavato savaka sango yadidam chattari purisa yugani atta purisa puggala esa bhagavato savaka sango ahunayyo pahunayyo dakkinayyo anjali karaniyo अनुत्तरं पुण्यकेतं लोकस्याति नमो तस्स अट्ट अर्य पुग्गला महासंगसा. So today's topic is the power of association. So what is association? Association means like your friendship, the time you spend with what kind of person, with whom you spend the time. That is association, And here the power of association means like there's a lot of influence and impact of the people who you generally spend time, you generally be with. That is the meaning here. It's not like say the power of unity or power of coming together. It is not the power of coming together that we are talking here. Here we are using this word association and the power of association. Like, so what are the impact? What are the say influence? What is the influence and the impact of the people whom you associate with? That is the meaning. If you don't get right people, then there is no need of association at all. To that extent, many wise people they say, because getting right association is the key for anything that you are looking for. Any kind of worldly success or spiritual success that you are looking for, it is the kind of people that you associate, that you respect, that you serve, that you surrender. Also, in many of course religions, that you have faith, that you have trust, that you listen to, and read about their life, their teachings, what kind of books you read. So that matters. So to that extent, we can take the meaning of association. And here the meaning of the power of association is the influence and the impact is very, very strong of the people with whom you stay or you spend time with. So in that sense, we are using this phrase, this power of association. It's not like power always of if you are in unity, if you are with people, then only it is power. No, that is not the meaning here. So what kind of people that determines? So that is the emphasis here in this statement, in this saying or in this phrase, power of association. So they say many people, philosophers, psychologists, they define you are nothing but the combined average of the 5 people that you spend most time with. You got my point? You are nothing but the combined average of the 5 people that you most associate with, that you most uh, spend your time with. So let us say if there are some five, say, uh, evil people, or people, cheating people, then the time you spend with is more. Then automatically you imbibe, you absorb that evilness, that cheating, or that badness from them, and you will also become bad. That is the point that they are highlighting here. This power of association in defining, the association matters so much. That's why all wise people, they talk about your the quality of the people that with whom you associate. And for some more statements in a poetic way, some people say, a drop of water, a drop of rainwater. The rainwater, if it falls on in a gutter, it will become a useless and you can't use it. And if the rainwater, if you catch it in the hands and it will is pure enough for drinking, and if it falls on a hot surface, then it evaporates, it disappears, it perishes with the rainwater, raindrop. If it falls on a lotus leaf, it shines like a pearl. It is so attractive, it becomes so beautiful. The rainwater, if it falls on a lotus leaf, if it falls in a gutter, into a gutter, then it completely loses its purity, whatever purity it has, and it also becomes a gutter water. And if it falls on an oyster, oyster, it's one kind of mollusk, one kind of uh, mollusk. It is in the oceans and the rivers. When it opens up and the rainwater falls into that oyster, then it becomes a pearl. The pearls, the natural pearls. uh, the natural pearls are actually obtained by these oysters, some kind of animals or sea animals, like your, they call it as mollusks, something like your fishes. So if you got oyster, mm, if it gets that raindrop, then that raindrop will be converted into a pearl inside that oyster. So here the point is the raindrop is the same, but its existence and worth depend on with whom it associates. If it associates with a hot pan, then it evaporates, it perishes. If it associates with gutter water, then it loses its sanctity and it becomes dirty, ugly. If it associates with a lotus leaf, it becomes beautiful. If it associates with an oyster, then it becomes a pearl, an actual pearl. People uh, love that, and they use it in their ornaments as a precious substance. So in that way, this rainwater, so if it associates with different kinds, so its value diminishes, perishes, or it increases, or it becomes a pearl, very costly pearl. That way, it's all association that matters. Hmm. And they say there were two parrots in many Indian, in some stories, in some Indian stories or Indian moral stories. You might have heard of this story. Hmm. There were two birds, two parrots. They were brothers, like they were from the same parents. So one parrot, it was like say, it was grown up in one ashram, one hermitage, where the hermits they always talk about the peace, the harmony, the love, the respect, uh, the humbleness, all these things. On the other parrot, it was like say it was taken care of by, it was grown up in one in one den of some gangsters, some thieves, some bandits. And always they talk about killing, robbing, exploiting, attacking. In that way only they talk about. And the behavior, the way these parrots also they started talking. It was like the people with whom they have grown up. One prince or somebody, he goes to this ashram, this parrot. So it starts talking very politely, very gently. Please come in, have some water. Please sit down, have some food. Would you like to have my service? In that way, it started talking in a very polite, very humble way. This parrot, though it is an animal, a bird, not human. And the same king, when he went to this den with some disguise, so there he saw this parrot, which is the brother of this the parrot that he had seen in this hermitage, and it started exactly in the opposite tone. Somebody has come, you just attack him, kill him, rob him, whatever he has find out. In that way, it started shouting at the other bandits. So then this king realized it, though they are of the same origin, same parents, but their association with these different groups that have tremendous impact on these birds. And one is behaving like bandits only, the other one is behaving like the saints or the hermits only. That's why your association matters. Hmm? In that way, this concluded. So in that way, you might have heard of so many stories about the power of association, about the influence. And there is one more story in the Buddhist scriptures. In that story, in the Jataka tales, in that story, our Buddha, he was a bodhisattva. During that time, he was a minister. Once during in his palace, what happened? One elephant, it was respected by everyone because of its say its behavior and its physique and its strength and its say its intelligence. The elephant was so intelligent. The elephant was so strong, so powerful. It used to kill so many enemies in the warfare during the wars, and it was so intelligent also. It was so clean, so attractive also, and everybody used to love that elephant, including the king and the ministers, the people, the soldiers, the ordinary subjects of that kingdom also. It was so famous because of its virtues, because of its qualities. But day by day, its behavior started changing, and within some 2 3 months, it started behaving as if it is a crazy animal, and started attacking people also, started killing people also, as if it is completely drunken and completely lost its sense. So it started behaving like that. And the king, he could bring some people, some to treat that elephant, but nothing worked out. Then he requested this Bodhisattva, our Bodhisattva who was the minister during that time, to see the problem, to find out the solution for the problem, this elephant's problem, why it's behaving. It's now it's became very hostile to everyone. Earlier it was so loving, so friendly, so powerful, but now it has become absolutely crazy and violent. You just see how to handle this elephant, how to fix the problem of this elephant. Then this Bodhisattva, again in disguise, so he started visiting this uh, elephant during night time in its shed. So there he saw some thieves. They used to come very close to that shed where this elephant used to spend time during the night time, and they were talking all about some cruel things, some bad or evil things about how to attack people, the strategies they were discussing, and how they killed other people, how they destroyed. the soldiers. In that way, they were discussing. So that was continuing for days and days, for so many days, during night time. And this elephant used to hear all these things. This that has influenced this elephant, this very pure, very powerful elephant, and it has simply disturbed its mind. And and it's and that very bad words, bad influence of these thieves, it has made this elephant to go crazy, and it became completely restless. There was some strong fight. Initially, there was some strong fight in the mind of this elephant between good and bad. And because of its continuous influence of these thieves talking about only bad, evil things, of affecting, harming other people, then it automatically entered into its subconscious. Then it started harming the people. So that this bodhisattva could find out, and then he just asked his soldiers to catch hold of those thieves and punish them. And instead of thieves, she requested some wise people, some saintly people, to go and discuss some nice things about happiness, about compassion, about service, about love, affection, about caring, about gentleness, about morality, about humbleness, about non-violence. These things, when the people started discussing in the form of stories, in the form of some experiences, though it is an animal, the elephant, it started imbibing all that positive vibrations, positive thoughts, positive influence from these positive, from these wise people, saintly people, and slowly it recovered. So again, this story will give us an idea, an insight into the power of association. In psychology, also, there are so many researchers, so many, like say, studies which will talk about, which talks about this kind of power of association. You want to handle so many diseases, the psychosomatic diseases, the psychological issues. The psychologists also they recommend about the association with whom they have to associate. That's why there are so many counseling centers to handle people with some kind of psychological issues, because that kind of compassion, kindness, uh, so that kind of caring, it will have some impact on these uh, psychological uh, issues, or the people who are having these psychological issues, and they get cured. And so many ashrams, so many spiritual centers, they also have this approach. Many people with a lot of stress, lot of anxiety, lot of worry, they go to some hermitages, some ashrams, uh, some kind of spiritual centers. Spiritual healing. People talk about spiritual healing. The healing is all about this power of association. Hmm. I was in some monasteries in Myanmar and Thailand. There are many criminals, many people with a lot of anxiety issues, with psychological issues. They used to take up this temporary ordination. That means like they become monks for 1 month, 2 months, and they used to become a part of that community, that monastic community. Or because of the influence of these good people, moral people, holy people, automatically even those criminals and even those people with a lot of psychological issues, I have seen with my own eyes how they get cured from a lot of the issues, how even the criminals, they could change themselves, their thinking, how it changed. So in that way, the association matters to a great extent. Hmm. In other religions also, they highlight the importance of not only psychologists and philosophers, even the spiritual religious leaders also. They talk about this association. To give a lot of importance to association, they talk about faith, they talk about trust, they talk about submission, they talk about surrendering, they talk about devotion. All these things, they're like little bit stretched forms of your association. Devotion means you're completely say surrendering yourself to one superior deity or God or some quality. Thereby, you will be in the association of that quality, of that divine being, of that deity. So, like devotion is nothing but a stretched form of association. That's all. Faith also, in many religions, they emphasize on faith. Have faith in Jesus, uh, in God, or something like that. They emphasize on the faith. What does it mean? Like be in association, at least in your thoughts, if not physically, at least in your thoughts, be in the association of these great people who are having the great qualities. That is what is the intent in this faith or devotion. Submission in Islam, the very meaning of Islam is submission. Submission to the God, submission to the will of the God. What does it mean? Like divine qualities are very superior. The qualities of the God are very superior. Just submit your me, your selfish or your silly powers or silly qualities to the superior qualities of the divine, of the God. And that is also one extreme form of association or one stretched form of association, one skewed form of association where your thoughts, your mind is in association with the God and the godly qualities. That is what is the idea there. The same thing holds good with the negative things also. So, of course, again, this power of association is rooted in the laws of association. The law of association, Aristotle and some philosophers, they talk about some 4 laws of association. So these 4 laws of association will influence the power of association. The law of contiguity. So again, the time and space, you have to be physically with that particular person or particular quality, then you can absorb that particular quality. The physical association in time and space, both in time and space. So that's what is the law of contiguity. The law of frequency, that repetition. That's why in spiritual learning, they ask for memorizing the things. So again and again, you repeat those particular teachings, which again emphasize about the quality of the God or of that particular virtue that they are repeating again and again. That is what is frequency, the law of similarity. Trying to find out similar things which you are trying to emulate, you are trying to learn. These are all different learning processes. Trying to learn the similar things, then you can learn that particular thing also. Trying to learn something with repetition, frequency, trying to learn with contiguity, with the complete physical association with the person who is teaching, like teacher. So then the law of contrast. You should correctly know what is the opposite of that, and then you can keep it away. Then you can just protect yourself from that, which is completely opposite of what you are learning. And that's what Buddha teaches in the Four Noble Truths also. The very first truth is about the suffering, the law of suffering, the truth of suffering. So if you understand suffering and the cause of suffering, that is craving, correctly, then that is a contrast of happiness that you are looking for. Then you understand happiness and the cause of happiness. If you know suffering and the cause of suffering, that's what is in many scientific approaches also in PhD, and then some people are doing some research. So in that way, the first opposite of it they started to note and they started to prove that that opposite is not good, and then automatically it is as if it's like proving that this is correct because its opposite is wrong. Its opposite is not correct means this is correct. That is the law of contrast. So in that way, if you want to establish yourself in this power of association, in these 4 laws of association, also one should know. If you know, if you want, let us say, one if you want to progress in, let us say, meditation, for example, or let us say in business, then you should know who is the successful businessman and try to be in association with him physically again and again as much as possible. Maybe you may have to sacrifice something. You may have to serve him. You may have to sacrifice a few things for that association. It's okay. It is required. It's a must actually. And that is the first law, the law of contiguity, that association, that physical association that you should cultivate, adopt. Then the repetitiveness, the frequency of, say, learning the different skills of business or the different skills of meditation again and again, either with the teacher or through studies or through different kinds of people who are having the same virtue, who are succeeded in that. And the next one is the similarity, something like that. The other kinds of businesses, the other kinds of meditation, going through those kinds of techniques of meditation, techniques of business, which are similar to that, so that you will comprehend the other kinds which are similar to this particular thing that you want to learn, you want to progress, you want to succeed. And the law of contrast, which are the things that will come in the way to progress in this business, to grow in this business, which are the ways or the points that will affect me to progress in this meditation, if you are into meditation, for example. So the contrast, the opposites of where I face the hindrance, I face the obstacle, that knowledge also if you have, then your learning becomes more authoritative, more comprehensive, more wholesome, and your success also will become more authoritative because you got that comprehensiveness either in this worldly successes, like for example business, or in the spiritual success, for example this meditation thing that I was telling you. In that way, if you know these laws of association, then you will become more skillful in developing this power of association, in choosing the right association, and how to develop the repetitiveness or uh, 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 the frequency of being with him or being with that virtue that you learn, and what is the opposite of it that you learn and you keep it away. You just keep yourself away from that, which is contrast to that, and you start exploring the other things which are similar to this. So these are the 4 laws of association, which will increase your power of association, which will help you to develop this power of association. I remember once I was going through some article or something like that, or somebody was telling some speech. This Dhirubhai Ambani, he was an ordinary businessman when he started his venture in Mumbai. When he when he migrated from his native place to Mumbai, he was an ordinary, very very simple, very petty business, middle class person. And of course, he was very ambitious to become a very successful businessman. So he thought of meeting the successful businessman in some big conferences where he has to pay a lot of money to attend those conferences. But he never bothered about it because he knew the worth of being in the association of the very successful businessmen, to know their ideas, to get their energy, to get their vibes, to get their some personality traits also, their attitude also, to learn all those things, both consciously and unconsciously. This learning will happen through this power of association, both consciously and also unconsciously, without knowing their personality traits, their attitude, everything will influence your attitude, your personality traits also. So to achieve that, so this Dhirubhai Ambani, he used to spend a lot of money, lot of time, he used to sacrifice to achieve that power of association, to achieve that right association, because that was his goal. So in the midst of or in the company of these right people, the successful businessmen, I can learn so many things. I can imbibe so many things, both consciously and unconsciously. So because of that reason, both knowingly and unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously, I can imbibe so many things. So because of that reason, he has to sacrifice. He sacrificed many things, in the form of monetary sacrifice, also the time and many things. His ego also. The biggest sacrifice is the ego. Many people they don't want to say serve the superiors or the people who are successful, which these people also looking for. It is the ego that comes in the way. Why should I serve? Why should I spend? Why should I request them? Why should I be humble with them? So that will come in the way. That is the biggest thing. Ban this money or your time or your say mainly this money and time. So more than that, my own ego. Why me? Why should I? Everywhere, all aspects. And again, to get association, then they will also see your worth. If you are good for nothing, then they will keep you away. Then you should show your humbleness. Then you should serve them. Then you should be devoted to. You should be trustworthy. They should trust you and trust your service. Then only they will be. They will spend some time with you. Otherwise, why should they spend time with you? The same thing with the spiritual learnings also. Hmm? If you want to learn some spiritual things from a spiritual master, then why the spiritual master has to give his time to you? And if you are like serving him, if you are like say of some worth to him in some way or the other way, then he will give his time, then he will associate with you, then he will teach you. So in that way, so this kind of qualities of respecting the respectables with whom what you respect. So based on what you respect, then you can determine who is the respectable for you. If you respect money, then you find out the person who has succeeded in getting money, like a businessman, for example. If you if you respect power, then you respect a political person who has succeeded politically, for example. If you respect some name and fame as a sportsman or as a celebrity or something like that, then you try to be in association with such people who have achieved success in that particular field. And to be in association with them, then you should prove your worth as a trustworthy person in serving or in contributing whatever you have that they are looking for. So, whatever humbleness, whatever service, whatever devotion, in spiritual lines, you can call it as faith and devotion. If they see this faith and devotion, so then the spiritual blessings you will get, the spiritual association you will get. Once you get spiritual blessings, then you will get association. If you don't get blessings, then you don't get association. You get blessings, you should prove your worth. The same thing in a lesser say amount, lesser frequency, lesser quantity, you have to exhibit, you have to cultivate in other aspects of life also. The spiritual field, it is superior, it is higher, it is deep. Your faith, your submission, your respect, your say devotion. But in other fields also, these qualities are to some extent it is required. The worldly life also, the worldly gains, the worldly learnings also. If you want to become, let us say, in studies also, if you want to learn, uh, let us say, mathematics, then you should show your respect to the mathematics teacher, for example, your humbleness, your service to the in whatever possible way, of course. Nowadays, that service and all it has come, but at least your humbleness, uh, your respect, these things are also important in whatever learning, in whatever progress you are looking for, in whatever growth you are looking for. These qualities are a must. So in that way, this how these are the different ways and means to achieve the right association that you are looking for. To prove your worth, to prove your if you are worth of no worth, you are of zero worth, then nobody uh, blesses you, or nobody likes to be in association with you, though you like their association. That is the point that you remember. And of course, this all like it's simple comprehension with some common sense itself, you can comprehend this. This is not a big science. Even it's a very, very simple thing. And even this this power of association, it depends on the laws of association and the requirements of right association. These things we have seen. And also, this is a corollary of law of cause and effect, law of karma. So consciously and unconsciously, you are influenced by the people around you or the association with which you spend most of your time. That's what we have seen in the very beginning of this discourse. So I was telling you sometime back, you accumulate karma most of the time unconsciously, subconsciously. You accumulate karma. So when you are association with, say, right people, many things, as I was telling you, their attitude, their personality traits, many things you imbibe unconsciously. And that's how it will add up to your overall personality to achieve that particular thing that you are looking for. So in that way, this association is actually creating that right cause, both knowingly and unknowingly, both consciously and unconsciously. In that way, this power of association is actually an outcome of the law of karma only. It's one of the corollaries, like uh, it is a part of law of karma. If the right association, if we keep on continuing, if it reaches some threshold, it may give result within a few days or few months or few years. But if that threshold you have not reached the right association, this association and the right association that you are maintaining, and if the threshold has not reached the entire life, next life definitely you will get its results. So in that way, the association, right, the right association, the power of right association, one need not ignore, because if you are not getting the results of it in this life in a few days or a few months, because it depends on so many factors, and it's like the corollary of the law of karma, law of cause and effect. You have not accumulated the proper causes sufficient enough to get the results. That's what one can deduce, which because this actually law of karma is based on, it has some 12 corollaries. The 12 corollaries. So one of the corollaries. Corollary means like one secondary law, sub law kind of, secondary theory, sub theory kind of. So this law of attraction, laws of association, the power of association, all these things, they are part of law of karma, law of cause and effect. Because as we always define law of cause and effect, the good begets good, the bad begets bad. Whatever you give, you get back. Action and reaction are equal and opposite. So based on that only, whatever you offer in the form of service, in the form of devotion, in the form of respect, in the form of submissiveness, you will get back that pride that you are looking for in a successful businessman, successful, powerful person, political person, or successful spiritual person who has achieved some spiritual progress. So if you're looking for that particular achievement, particular success, then you should be worth for it. You should be in a receiving position, you should be in a receptive position, and you should be of some worth to get it to that person also who has progressed. If you are absolutely useless, then nobody will bless you, nobody will help you, nobody will be in association with you. So these things, these factors also, one should keep in the mind before looking for the right association and before developing this right association. Okay. Once there was a conversation between Lord Buddha and his chief attendant, his a very close disciple, and he is the one who is to take care of Buddha. And his name is Ananda. Of course, he was uh, Buddha's cousin only. He is of same age of Buddha, but still he was more like a disciple, more like one chief attendant of Buddha for some 25 years. He served Buddha all the time. Because of that, he developed so many skills. His Dhamma explaining skills, his Dhamma narrating skills, his comprehensive skills. There are so many discourses of this Buddha also, of this Ananda, the chief attendant of Buddha. He was not very, very superior in his wisdom like the other wise disciples, like Sariputta and Moggallana. Sariputta is considered next to Buddha in wisdom, and Moggallana is considered the very powerful disciple next to Buddha in the supernormal powers. Though Ananda was not as wise in the wisdom and also in supernormal powers as Sariputta and Moggallana, but because of the association and because of the power of association, this Ananda, he imbibed a lot of skills of Dhamma that Buddha had, and he developed a lot of skills in handling people, also in teaching people very rightly according to their abilities, just like Buddha. And because of that, there were so many discourses of Buddha, the discourses of Ananda are also included in the scriptures. It's purely the power of association and his devotion to Buddha, his faith in Buddha, that has brought him into the close association of Buddha. That way, he became very powerful among all the disciples of Buddha. That very association made him very powerful, not because of his innate virtues like wisdom or supernormal powers, like that of Sariputta and Moggallana, because of his devotion, because of his right association, the continuous right association, that has made him a very powerful disciple. So once there was a conversation between Buddha and this Ananda, and Ananda, he was telling Buddha, like the success in spirituality, the half of the success in spirituality depends on the association. That way, this Ananda was telling Buddha. Then Buddha says, "No, you are wrong." Then again, Buddha continues. The complete, the 100% cause of success is the association. If you are in the right association, then you are bound to succeed. There is no need of looking back if you are in the right association. Definitely achieve success. So, to that extent, Buddha could stretch the power of association. If you are in the right association, you can successfully choose the right person with the right qualities, who has succeeded in achieving those right qualities. And if you start serving him, you are in association with him, then you automatically achieve that particular success that he had already reached. You too will definitely reach. That is what is the assurance given by Buddha. So in that way, these different extensions of association, like faith, like submissiveness, like devotion, like confidence, like service, even the service. Why people serve some teacher or some superior person in any field?
So that's what is actually Buddha's version or Buddha's idea about the power of association. Because of mere faith, mere devotion, that has liberated so many people. Because that mere faith, mere liberation, their ability to give up their ego completely and completely open up themselves to the teachings of Buddha, building up that absolute gradient to get all the knowledge. Because of your own obstacles, you don't get knowledge actually. That's what is Buddha's version when he was explaining about the importance of association. Because you think that you have your own ideas and your own opinions, so that will cover you, that will make you to not open up yourself, the Buddha's or the teacher's knowledge or wisdom. So because of that, you don't progress. So once you have this submissiveness, this faith, this devotion, then so your opinion about your own knowledge, that will take the back seat, and you are open, you're ready for the wisdom of the teacher, the knowledge of the teacher. Again, there are some Zen stories. When your teacup is full, then whatever tea I pour into your cup, it will simply overflow. When your teacup is empty, if you can make yourself teacup empty, then I can pour my tea into your teacup. So that kind of receptivity, that kind of gradient, that kind of emptiness, if you want to create, then automatically the whatever association you are looking for, you will get it. If you are full, if you think that you know everything, then you won't get the right association for whom you are looking for. Any field, not only in the spiritual field, even in the business, even in other worldly knowledge, just learning some subject, learning some skill, some art, some science, whatever you want to learn. If you develop that, say, receptivity, that gradient, by giving up whatever ego or whatever silly little things that you have, keep aside and develop some kind of gradient to receive, then you can develop your association also. Then you can continue your association peacefully, harmoniously, in an efficient way. That is what is the point. So in that way, Buddha highlights about the importance of the right association. He always talks about the right association. He always talks about the association with the right people. Of course, he was talking about the spiritual success. So his very first teaching in one of the very famous discourses, Mangala Sutta, the first blessing is to get the right association. Asevanacha balana, panditanancha sevana, pujacha pujaniyana, etang mangala uttamam. The best blessing, the blessing means like your inherent ability, virtue, is it like when you what kind of virtue you should develop? Asevanacha balana, you should keep away the company of the foolish people. And panditanancha sevana, you should develop the association of the wise people. Pujacha pujaniyam, and you should worship, you should rever, should venerate who are supposed to be venerated, like wise people whose virtues you are looking for, or for which you are aspiring for. For such people, if you respect and venerate and say worship, then automatically you can achieve that particular virtue, particular success. That is the greatest blessing. That's what Buddha says. So for that, you have to sacrifice so many things to get right association. Actually, that itself requires tremendous sacrifice. Many disciples of Buddha, from so many lives they were with Buddha, but in all those lives they had to sacrifice so much. Like so many kings they had to sacrifice who came in touch with Buddha and who wanted to be in association of Buddha. They had to give up their kingdoms, their families, their wealth, everything to get the wisdom of Buddha. So to get this right association also requires tremendous sacrifice, tremendous wisdom, and it's a greatest blessing. And if you understand it's a greatest blessing, then sacrificing becomes easy. Just like in the case of Dhirubhai Ambani, I was telling, he could sacrifice many things for the sake of the association of some successful businessman. The same way in the spiritual achievement, like to become the disciple of Buddha and to get absolute enlightenment, many people had to sacrifice so many things, so many worldly things for the sake of this spiritual success. So you have to sacrifice many things for the sake of one thing, either the worldly success or the spiritual success. Of course, once you achieve that thorough success, that absolute success, other things automatically will follow you. That is secondary. But in the beginning, you have to sacrifice some of the worldly things for the sake of one particular thing that you are looking for. That's what again it is rooted in the Four Noble Truths of Buddha. The happiness is in giving and giving up. The happiness along with success is in giving and giving up. After all, happiness itself is a success. Or by achieving something, if you are getting happiness, then happiness and success, they are dependent on lot of giving and giving up. I want this, I want that, I want everything. So in that way, if that is your attitude, if that is the mess that is going on in your mind, then there is no giving and giving up, there is no happiness and success. Because of that reason, even for the right association, this Four Noble Truths, that knowledge of Four Noble Truths, one should correctly comprehend, and accordingly one should learn to give and give up to get the right association and to get the right success. That is the point that I wanted to highlight in today's Dhamma talk. And again, Buddha says, if you don't get the right association to achieve that right success in that right field, in the right aspect that you are looking for, then better to be alone. So when you are alone, then if you have the same goal, same target that is always there in your mind, then automatically your own mind will start teaching you the different ways and means to achieve that particular goal that you are looking for. Of course, it requires again a lot of wisdom and comprehension that you might have cultivated from so many lives. But many people, they can't go for that, like absolute discoverers or inventors. They can't stand alone and they can't reach the success. They definitely need the help of the teachers, the superiors, the seniors, already who are successful in that particular field. And again, there is a confusion of who is the right person, who has rightly achieved the success, who can rightly help me, who can become a right association for me. For that, again, of course, you have to take chance. You have to keep experimenting. Like in the spiritual field, you have to keep experimenting with different masters, with the right spiritual goal, with the right spiritual path, with the right determination to achieve that goal, with that path that you have to experiment. The same way in the business or in any other worldly field also. Rightly who has achieved that particular success in that worldly goal and in the right path, that can be emulated by many other people also. That you should look for, and then you start being in their association. And then for their association, whatever sacrifices you have to make, that you should definitely make. But in the very selection of the right person, who is having that right association, so for that, you should look for his right goal, whether he has reached that right goal that you are looking for, and whether he has taken the right path, and whether he has that ability to pull me to that right path and right goal. Whether he is rightly committed for those things you should see, either in the spiritual field or in the worldly aspects also. Those things you should see. And many times you may fail also to get the right association, to get the right path, to the right leader. Then you should be okay, you should accept those failures also. If you're not getting the right association, then after realizing this is not right association, you should give it up and take up the next right association. That way, so much of our energy, much of our time will be spent in choosing the right association itself. It's okay. No need to worry about it. That itself will help us to grow in finding out that law of contrast I was telling you. What are not suitable? That knowledge you will develop. What are the obstacles? What are the problems, hindrances? So that knowledge you will develop. That law of contrast, that idea you will get, and law of similarities also will get. Then you can think of law of frequency, law of multiplying, repeating, that repetitiveness you can follow. Then you can think of right of this law contiguity, means like the physical association you can develop with that particular person. So based on these 4 laws, you can again choose the right association. The law of contrast, what you are looking for, how contrast is this person, what you are looking for, how similar is this person, so then you can keep repeating the things. You can judge your senior or your leader or your teacher, and then you be in his association. So these 4 laws again will help you to find out the right association. Okay. So if you are dare enough, you are confident enough, then you can stand alone and you can work for your own goals and your own success. But until then, so if you don't have that much of courage, then experimenting with different successful people, different leaders, different teachers is the only other way. And to achieve that kind of right leader, right teacher, right association, then keep these 4 laws of association. The contrast, similarity you should look into. Then you should go for repetitiveness, the frequency. Then you should develop that physical right association, physical association. Physical in the sense being in their company as much time as possible. So then you have achieved that right association. Of course, to all these things, there is a lot of price you have to pay, a lot of cost is involved in the form of service, in the form of offering, in the form of devotion, in the form of faith. So those things also one should keep in the mind to achieve this right association and thereby to achieve the power of association. Okay. So that is about today's Dhamma talk. I think this much is enough. And if you have some quick questions, we will see and then we will conclude. So any questions? Okay, we'll conclude with one small chanting. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa bhavatu sabba mangalam rakkantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sabba dhammanubhavena sabba sanghanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te sukhi bhaveyang niddukko aham nicca aham viya idacha me sukhi hontu majjata chatavedino imam gammante dhamme satta hontu sukhi sada tato paranchara jesu chakkavale sujantano sadhu sadhu sukhi hontu mangalko. May all of you be happy, healthy and peaceful. May all beings also be happy, healthy and peaceful. Sukhi hontu mangalko.